Everyone, welcome back to Truth Lies Shenanigans, the live show for season 2, episode 12. I go by the name Neo Nix, and I'll be the moderator for your show today, February 10th, 2021. For today's show, we've got our quickfire question, then our TLS spotlight on Black history with our friend of the show, Micah Payne from Black on Black Cinema, returning. And then we'll talk about hot topics where Rob is talking about YouTubers getting themselves killed, and Gianni brings up Asian Americans still dealing with Trumpers and looking for allies. So we should have a great show ahead. But before we get into it, let me introduce you to our wonderful hosts, our professor, writer, editor, journalist, sports guru out of Washington, D.C., Lizzie Enders. Sounds like you're muted, Lizzie Enders.
I thought it was me. Thank goodness.
She's not
Oh,
muted.
you're not? She said she's not muted.
Not muted.
Okay.
Muted. Yeah, I've got her full volume. All right. Let's see if we can fix Lizzie Ender's voice. So, and we also have our other host, our very own rock star with the amazing rock band Fallen Machine, coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario. We have Robbie Rock.
What's up, everyone? So I guess this is going to be the trend for me for the next little bit. A lot of birthdays going on, but today is a happy 77th birthday to my father, Robert Sr. So we're celebrating, we've celebrated Father
happy
today.
Birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
And again, I can't compete with the best gifts. My granddaughter came by to wish him a happy birthday, so I can't compete with that. I'm not that cute anymore.
She wins.
And streaming from Atlanta, Georgia, our model, actor, college student, and associate producer, Gianni Storm. How's it going, Gianni Storm?
Hey, guys. Everything's going good. I hope you guys are ready for the Valentine weekend. I hope if you don't have a date, then find something to cuddle up with and just enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the lover's weekend, even if it's self-love.
All right, Lizzie, Andy, were we able to get that the mic fixed? Can't hear you.
Not yet. Okay.
All right. See if you can reconnect. Let's see if that helps.
Come back in.
Come back. Come back.
He's yelling.
That'd be a great time for the audio to cut back in.
It would be, right in the middle of that. All right. So let's move on to let's move on to our hot quick fire question. Let's go ahead.
It's time for the quick fire. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. We got you back. All right. So let me okay, so quick fire question. Trolls recently hit up Halle Berry claiming that she can't keep a man, to which she responded, "Who said I wanted to keep him?" So what would you have said to these trolls, Gianni Storm?
Some men aren't worth keeping. So
very true. Robbie Rock?
I'd rather be happy and single than miserable in a bad relationship.
Lizzie Enders?
Stay out of my nana and my bed. Mind your business.
And I say she got it perfectly right. No reason to keep the wrong man. So, yeah. So what were your thoughts? I mean, what did you think about what she said, Lizzie?
I personally thought, men can't make up their mind. In one conversation, they could call us hoes because we got too many men, right? Got too many men, got too many baby daddies, got too many people calling us, cat calling us, or what have you. Then in the very next conversation, the very next sentence even, oh, but she can't keep a man. Well, make up your damn mind. But again, what I originally said, mind your business. What's going on over here? Especially, you're not my daddy. I have been raised, okay? I've already been raised. You're not my brother who still has no control over me as a woman. And you certainly aren't the man that I'm about to kick out of whatever is going on over here. So mind your business. It's Halle Berry, people.
Mm-hmm.
It's Halle Berry.
I know.
It's Halle Berry. And maybe
Halle Berry. Neo.
These men that can't keep Halle. Maybe they can't keep
there you go. Yeah, yeah. I'm with you on that one. Robbie
Stop
Rugby.
blaming the woman.
Yeah. So
But see, I don't know what happens behind closed doors, and everybody owns their own special brand of crazy. So just gonna put that out there.
yep.
Oh, so you're saying she's crazy?
I'm saying everybody owns their own brand of crazy. I'm saying I got my brand of
It's
crazy.
true.
Girl, you know you got yours too. So
Yeah,
I'm not casting
it's true.
stones. This is just truth.
That's true. Maybe the guys can't handle her,
Yeah.
or
I mean, if I'm being honest, I
maybe
mean,
she's a little alternative. Maybe she's
she may have
different.
had a lot of relationships. I mean, there's people who've had a lot of relationships. I mean, and I feel
She's in
like,
her 50s. She's
yeah,
in her 50s.
similar to what Robbie's
Oh,
saying, I
is
feel
she?
like we all go through stuff. And as you get older,
Mhm.
you start to realize you unknowingly pick a lot of people for that wrong reason. So we all make
Yeah.
mistakes, and hopefully we learn from those mistakes, and eventually you realize what you want,
Yeah.
and you still may not find it because, I mean, maybe she has some high standards. Which what's wrong with that? And then she
Yep.
realizes the person didn't meet. And there's a lot of players out there. Let me tell you something. There's some men out there that go after these beautiful women, and they play these games and all these games going after men. And because I've known a few, and they go after these beautiful women. The women think that they're, the one, and all these other things, and the men are lying. It happens all of the time, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that attractive women tend to be target of those players.
But you know what? Beauty is relative.
That's
So,
another good point. That's true.
beautiful. I'm looking at it from the perspective that 99.9% of the women out here are attractive. They're attractive to someone. But Hallie has owned her stuff. I certainly, I'm in my mid 40s. I am probably the single most person that I know. I don't have a man. I don't want a man right now. It is the last thing that I'm concerned about and focused on. I have a career, second phase of my career that I'm trying to get off the ground. I have finances that I need to get back on track. I hopefully will be buying some property in a couple of years. Now, if a man kind of, falls in between that, that's fine. But I don't feel like, my life is over, or that the be all end all is having a man. I've had men, bad ones, bad ones. And thankfully, and I think what Hallie is saying, thankfully, I have matured enough that I'm not going to make those same mistakes again. So I'm good being single.
It
I
took
don't
me a
miss it.
while to find the perfect woman, so I just want
Yeah,
to point out. I want to point out some comments online. We've got Angela Cherie from the Ever Evolving Podcast. She's online.
thank
Hi,
you.
Angela.
She says
Hey, Angela.
what she's doing and who she's doing ain't nobody's business.
Thank you. Thank
Can-
you.
Candace Winston said, "Liz, that hair is everything."
Thank you.
George Fournier told Rob B to tread lightly. Sherry Blaine Priest said, "Neo Nix, I'm glad you said it out loud. Some individuals being players, unfortunately true."
Players also, Neil, think about this. I'm sure, well, a lot of our audience that's into urban contemporary music, that's into hip hop, y'all have heard of the rapper Future. How many
Yeah.
kids he got by different women? At least 7.
8,
At least 7.
7.
8. 8. Never been married. He's been engaged a couple
Yeah.
of times. But he has 8 kids by several different women. Why is no one asking him or saying to him, he can't keep a woman? Why is the onus always on us?
That's right. Why she got to? That's right. That's a good point. Why she got to be?
He has
That's true.
7 babies with 7 different women. That's why he can't keep a woman.
but they're still having babies with him.
Yeah,
That's another
people keep dating him.
conversation. But his
About
8th
money.
kid is a baby.
It's about
Is a
money.
baby. They're still having babies with him.
He said it
All
was
right,
about money.
that was a good quick fire. So Lizzie, you were part of an all-star panel of sports journalists today, discussing
That's how my
diversity and inclusion in sports. You with Bob Lee, BJ Spector. Did I say his name right? Yep. Schechter.
Spector.
All right. Yep. Schechter. I knew that. I knew that. It's just misspelled. Michael Smith and Charles Grantham. So how was that? How was that experience? You did a great job. You really,
Thank
matter of
you.
fact, I think you were the star
job,
of
Liz.
the show.
Thank you.
Oh.
First and foremost, I want to thank everyone that took the time out of their day, their lunch schedule, to tune in. I was pleasantly surprised. There were a lot of friends there. There were my co-hosts were there. A lot of my students were there. So thank you so much for tuning in. I think that the topic was diversity in sports. Um, and we were just exploring various issues and various reasons why.
Oh, did we lose Lizzie? Come on.
Lose me?
Oh,
No, we're
Oh
still
no.
good.
Hello?
Sounds like we still got
Hello?
Okay, we got you. We got
Hello?
you.
We're
Hello?
good. You're good. You're good.
You're here.
Hello? Woo!
You're
It's been a
good.
hard day on the technical side, y'all. It's been a hard day. So let's see. But yeah, we went over a lot of topics about sports, about the lack of representation in the four major sports, whether it's players or on the coaching level, in the executive level, ownership, the reasons for that, and who's responsible for building that bridge and making it better, making it so that you don't have a league that has 65% of their players as Black men or persons of color, but then only three actual coaches. So we had a good discussion, and a lot of the people who tuned in, they also had some good questions for the panel.
There were some
So
great
that
questions.
was fun as well. That was fun as well.
Matter of fact, I had a question for you that I
Yeah.
held and didn't ask while I was on there because I figured I'd ask you tonight. So I
Go ahead.
noticed you guys talking a lot about blacks in sports, which is great. There were occasional mentions of Latinos, Asians, and females. So where do you think sports are at this point with overall diversity, particularly with women and Latinos?
Depends on the sport. I mean, if you're talking about hockey, zero. If you're talking about women is a little bit different because when you're talking about sports in general, because most of the sports are divided by gender. At least
Sure.
I say five major because we're going to talk about the WNBA here as well. They have their own league. But when you talk about NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL, those sports
But
are divided.
in those discussions today, you did talk quite a bit about ownership and
Mhm.
coaches, etc. So, and those are
I
not
did,
limited to like
but
women. I mean,
what I
genders.
didn't get a chance to do though was bring in the gender aspect. We didn't have enough time for that because I specifically wanted to talk about how, especially now since you have women in the NBA as assistant coaches. You have women in the NFL as assistant coaches. And every time there's a milestone that's brought up in the media, they congratulate so and so for being the first woman or the first Black woman to coach in this league or whatever. Men lose their minds. They lose their minds. And so I didn't get an opportunity to bring that up,
Yeah.
but it's happening. It sometimes the wheels of justice turn slowly, even as it relates to diversity. I think for gender, it's going to take a little bit longer. One, because again, the sports tend to be separate, but also, there is a huge pushback by men in general. But as it relates to race, um, there isn't there aren't separate leagues. Like we don't have the Negro leagues anymore. Okay. So everyone is playing together. And so you would assume that once your playing career is over, once a player's has decided to retire, if they want, there would be an opportunity for them to move up to the top as it relates to being maybe an executive, someone in the front office, or they could be a coach, or they could look into ownership. But those opportunities are few and far between for minorities in these sports. And so that's one of the things that we did, focus on and discuss a lot today. I think that I came up with the phrase, that diversity in sports seems to have a glass ceiling because you're dealing with a lot of young Black males and with the WNBA, young Black females who come from humble beginnings. And so a lot of people in the general population just look at them and say they should be grateful for what they got.
Hmm.
They should be grateful that they're in a league where they can make millions of dollars. Why
Hmm.
are you complaining? Go spend your money. You're
Hmm.
done. Go spend your money. You don't need to be a coach. When in reality, if you look at a lot of coaches in these leagues, nepotism is a huge,
Huge.
huge factor. A lot of coaches, especially older coaches who've had longevity, you look on their coaching staffs, their firstborn son is here, secondborn son is there, nary a bit of talent.
And
But
also who you know. So like a lot of people, like friends of friends and, good old boys clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So basically, we were talking about how, representation is important, but also you can't have this, okay, well, we're going to interview someone for a coaching position just so we could say we interviewed them for a coaching position. But we know we're not hiring a Black man to coach this team. And that tends to happen over and over and over again.
Well, it was a great conversation. Great conversation. I know you put it up. The full video is up on our webpage, on our YouTube and our Facebook page. Is that right?
I didn't
Definitely on
post it.
Facebook.
Did you?
Oh
you
no,
post it?
maybe we haven't posted it yet. Okay, so we'll post that after the show. We'll post that right after the show. We'll get the full video up there. All right. If you've never been to TLS before, let me tell you a bit about us. Our hosts share their truths and opinions with you, call out those lies, and point out any ridiculous shenanigans going on. And on our show, we always try to have some fun with some shenanigans of our own. Our show does stream live just about everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch TV, and TikTok Live. Just tell your friends to search at TLS Live Show across all those platforms. Also, make sure you subscribe to the audio replay of the podcast on iTunes, Google, Alexa, Pandora, iHeart to find us wherever you watch or listen to your podcast. All right, before we get into our hot topics, in honor of Black History Month, every single show this month will be highlighting a different historical Black figure. Today, we have friend of the show, Micah Payne, joining us from the Black on Black Cinema podcast for our TLS Spotlight on Black History. Today, we celebrate screen legends Cicely Tyson and Denzel Washington. Welcome to the show, Micah. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome back, Micah.
Micah.
Welcome
Welcome
Thank you.
back.
All right.
Thank you very much. I had a great time last time. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, yeah, we loved you. Our audience loved you too,
yeah.
so we're glad to have you back. All right, so
Great
let's
to have
talk
you back.
about the amazing Cicely Tyson. She just passed away 2 weeks ago at the age of 96. Was an American actress and fashion model in a career spanning more than 7 decades. She became known for a portrayal of strong African American women. Tyson became the first African American actress to win the Best Actress Emmy Award, ultimately receiving 3 Primetime Emmy Awards, 4 Black Reel Awards, 1 Screen Actors Guild Award, and Tony Award, an honorary Academy Award, and a Peabody Award. So quite a career. Quite a career. So, Mike,
Yes,
tell me a little bit about Cicely Tyson. Well, tell me remind everyone about who you are and tell us a little bit about Black on Black cinema, and then just tell us what you thought of Cicely Tyson.
I am a movie fan, me and my friends, and we just decided one day that we would look at movie reviews and we wouldn't see the Black perspectives, particularly on Black movies, right? Like, if white critics were to review a Black movie, it would be from their perspective, and they like certain movies that are engineered for them specifically to like. So we decided that we wanted to give our opinions on a wide variety of Black movies, and hence Black on Black cinema was born. Now, in terms of Cicely Tyson, I mean, what else can you say, right? Cicely Tyson was a legend. She had an incredible life, an incredible career, from very humble beginnings. Quite frankly, it's this American dream that people keep saying exists. When you look at people like Cicely Tyson, you kind of believe it.
Mm-hmm. So,
Um,
I was going to say, so I know
So-
Lizzie, this is one of Lizzie's favorite.
Favorite actresses. She had a career that's carried over and spanned more than 7 decades. Okay, I mean, most of us would be lucky to live that long, but to live that long and have 20 or so years before you start your career is truly amazing. And I remember the first movie that I saw with Cicely Tyson was, of course, the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, which both my school played every year for Black History Month, and then it also used to come on TV. It used to come on Fox every year for Black History Month, and it's told from the perspective of, I believe, a 110-year-old former slave, and so she narrates the entire movie. And so I remember I used to get in trouble for this, but a 110-year-old woman, her voice may be a little scratchy or scraggly. So
Right.
Cicely Tyson, throughout the entire movie, when she's narrating, she talks like this. And so I used to run around talking like that all through Black History Month.
That's the funny thing. I always notice in movies when they dress people up and to look older, there's so many actors that do not change their voice because voices when you get older you start to like go slower, it rumbles a little bit, and actors and you can always tell
That's
when
true.
actors in makeup because they don't change their voices. That's a good point. That tells
Oh,
you're a
yeah, I
great
used to
actor.
Yeah.
that all the time. And my dad thought, I think both of my parents actually thought that it was so disrespectful. So disrespectful. But I got a kick out of it. I got a kick out of it.
Yeah. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but I recently,
You're
because
inspired.
I had seen that movie a long time ago. It was my aunt had recorded it because it was originally a CBS made for television movie, and she
Mhm.
recorded it on VHS, and she was watching it one day, and I was watching it, and that was one of the first times that I heard the N word spoken aloud. You know what I mean? And it was, so I decided to rewatch it, and man, she really transcends everyone else in that movie, right? Because it's the 70s, some of these people are not good actors, but when you put them up against Cicely Tyson, like the delta is just, it's astronomical because she was an incredible talent. She's the type of actress that no matter what she popped up in, no matter how good or utterly garbage the movie is, looking at you, Tyler Perry movies, she
No.
classed she she classed
Oh, now
those
Tyler
Oh,
Perry.
movies up
yeah.
just a
Oh,
bit.
Whoa.
But look, don't get me started on those. But yeah, man, she was a phenomenal talent, and she lived to be 96, and that is, like you said, that's something that I mean,
and
I'm hoping
and
and praying
Can
and
can
was
I
still
admit to
working.
and
something?
working,
Working.
yes, and
Yeah.
and
Can I
working.
admit to something? I thought she was already
Yeah.
passed when I heard
There are some things you need to keep to yourself in public.
I was.
There's nothing wrong with
My wife said the same thing. My wife was like, "What are you? What is wrong with you?" I'm just. I got to Sometimes I just got to be honest. I was like, "Oh, wait." I thought. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not the only one that has looked up and saw that someone passed away, and they were like, "Wait, I thought they were already gone."
it.
I
Not
mean, she
Cicely
was
Yeah, 'cause
Tyson.
literally, she was literally
she's
in
been
a
around
movie in
forever.
2020.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm just an idiot." So I'm allowed to be an idiot once in a while. It's all human.
Ooh, no comment on that one.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure Lizzie has a
Poor
ton to say
Cicely.
on that one. All right, Robbie Rock and Gianni, I want to give you a chance to say anything about Cicely Tyson if you have some comments or thoughts.
Yeah, I really feel like when I saw, and it's so funny that you were like making fun of the Tyler Perry movies, and the first time I think I've seen Cicely Tyson and recognized her for who she was in was in that Tyler Perry movie, and I was like, oh, like I loved her even though her role was just like the grandmother that kind of like made this big speech and stuff. So, every role she does, she embodies, like she is the character completely. I think that's rare for actors to do. There's a lot of like actors acting like they look like they're acting, even some of the best. So yeah, she's one of the rare ones.
Yeah,
Robbie
just
Rock.
someone with an illustrious career that's like, yeah, nothing that hasn't been said already. It's she
Yeah.
had a wonderful career that spanned several decades, and just a powerful presence on screen, and I mean very well celebrated on both on and off screen. So it's yeah, it's sad to see someone like that go.
Yeah.
So let's see. Jacqueline Robinson says she refused to play demeaning roles. Um,
Mm.
She says it was. She also says it was considered a landmark movie because of the makeup and the way she was allowed to age progressively. Mike Winter says
Mhm.
she was still good in How to Get Away with Murder in her 90s. And I think Mike Winter was responding to me about Cicely Tyson and saying calling me a Bama. And then, but Kevin Thaxton says, Neo Nix, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Oh wow, you guys are
They,
crazy.
they run in the same circles. They run in the same circle. So birds of a feather.
Derry Winter
Birds.
wanted to know which Tyler movie, what's the name of the movie that she was in?
Oh man, she was in a couple. She was in A Fall from Grace, which was just a horrendous movie. But it's one of those movies that's so bad that I can't help but to laugh at it. She was also in Medea's Family Reunion. She was in Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Again, look, I'm not, and that's the thing with Tyler Perry. I respect the man's hustle. I just do
Yeah,
not respect his art. I
I
don't respect his art, but
Not a hustle.
agree with
yeah.
you. Where I really haven't. I've seen snippets of Tyler Perry movies, but I've never seen a Tyler Perry movie in full. Never watched any of his TV shows. And my mom is from the South, but we never said Medea. Like that just wasn't our experience growing up, and it's not my
Right.
genre of cinema. And I think that's fine. I think that's fine. I respect his hustle. I respect that he employs Black people. I respect that he has built like the Black Hollywood studio now in Georgia. Totally respect that. It's just his movies, his idea of cinema and storytelling is not my thing.
Not your cup of tea. Yeah.
No, not at all.
100% agree.
All right. So we also wanted to highlight Denzel Washington's Denzel Washington. So Denzel Washington is an actor, director, producer. In 2020, the New York Times ranked him as the greatest actor of the 21st century. He's received 17 NAACP Image Awards, 3 Golden Globes, 1 Tony Award, 2 Academy Awards, 1 for playing Best Supporting Actor for the Army Soldier Private in historical drama Glory, and he was the first black man to. He was the second black man to win Best Actor for his role as the corrupt detective Alonzo Harris in the crime thriller Training Day in 2001. So quite a career, quite a career. So Micah, what are your thoughts on the amazing Denzel Washington?
Denzel Washington
Or is he
is
overrated?
amazing. I don't think he's overrated.
He's not
I do enjoy Denzel Washington, but I've seen so many Denzel Washington movies that he is Denzel Washington in a role instead of
Mm,
the character, right?
mm,
Like I don't see the character.
mm.
I see Denzel Washington acting. And look, the guy I do the show with, he, he's pro-black, right? He's trying his best. He's like, well, I see it as Denzel just taking the role and making it his. And like, okay, but like, nah, yo, like I the Unstoppable and the Taking of Pelham 123 and
Those are roles
Deja
built
Vu,
around
like
the person Denzel. He
right,
was
like that's
typecasted,
Denzel, like
basically. It was
right, like
written for
that's that
him.
like there are very few movies that I am just like completely lost and forget that
Let's talk. I
this is
mean,
Denzel
Malcolm X.
Washington.
Come on, he embodied Malcolm X pretty well.
I think he did a very good job as Malcolm X, but
Yeah.
again, he doesn't really look like Malcolm X, right? Like I watched One Night in
I
Miami.
mean,
I forget the name. I forget the name of the actor.
It was the same thing, with Chadwick Boseman. Never should have played the role of Thurgood Marshall ever, because there was
Yeah,
so much that went into Thurgood Marshall physically, aesthetically, as a
right.
light-skinned black man, and how he
oh,
was
man,
navigate.
hefty black man.
But particularly a lighter skinned black man with slick hair, and how he was able
Right.
to navigate and deal with white folks during the civil rights movement, during the 50s and the 60s, in a way that a dark-skinned Black man never would have been able to do.
So you
So I
guys,
agree.
Right.
so you guys are of the okay. So you believe that so there's colorism as far as you're concerned. You should if you play a role, you should also match the shade that the person was. If you do a biopsy,
If it's an
Like
actual
fit them.
person, if it's an actual person, and if their color is a part of their story, absolutely.
I see.
Absolutely.
I was able to buy. I think I was able to buy Denzel Washington's Malcolm X, regardless of the fact that he was playing a lighter skinned person. I don't know. I I don't know that I can
He does a
agree.
I
very
kind of agree with
For
the
me,
he
it
does a
Malcolm
didn't
very
X.
bother
I
good
don't
job.
think he looks like him, but
me as much in Malcolm X as it did the Thurgood Marshall movie, because again, that is a part of the history of Thurgood Marshall.
Was the
And
fact
so
that he
if
was
you
lighter skinned.
yeah,
exactly,
I mean,
and if
that
to
is
his
true. I mean, it
advantage.
did play into his ability to even become a justice.
and that's not a knock against Chadwick. I mean, we did a full dedication on Chadwick Boseman. We love him as an actor. I just think he was miscast. But that goes to the lack of good minority casting directors in America. And we're getting off topic. Let's get back to the show.
I feel like Robbie Rock has some comments he wants to make.
I thought we were going to talk about one movie in particular, but
Yeah, but I'm gonna know if you have some comments. You look like you had something to say. I was about to jump to
oh
that.
God, no! I'm enjoying the conversation because I mean, to me, like actors are actors. They play the role, and I really like what Micah had to say, where it's just he's such a powerful force on screen that it's Denzel as this character. And
Yeah.
now that when you mentioned it, I was like, you know what, he's onto something. And it's kind of like Forrest Whitaker as well. I'm only going to see Forrest. That's every time. I'm only
Yeah,
going to
Yeah.
it's
see
very
Mayor
difficult
Forrest.
once you reach a certain level. It's a little difficult. Like
I
the
think. I mean,
Fences
when he played
was the
Edie,
last
when
time
Forrest
was
Whitaker played Edie Amin, I'm sorry, I bought it all the way. I thought I was
I
watching
think
Edie
sure.
Amin.
Well, that's a role that was made for. Like, I could see if it was a role that was made for him, but I definitely see what you guys mean. Like Denzel has surpassed that. Like, he's a household name, and it's kind of like the same for. Well, let's stick to Black actors. But yeah, sorry. Continue.
No,
well,
I
I
mean,
think
look,
if
you
you
could
if it
say
makes your
it's
point,
like the same thing with it's like the same thing with Tom Cruise, right? I don't see Tom
I was gonna say
Cruise
that.
as a character. I see Tom Cruise as Tom Cruise jumping off of planes, right?
it's
Like
the
I
same
see
thing
Tom
with
Yeah.
Cruise.
Samuel L. Jackson. It's the same
It's
thing with
the
Samuel
yep,
L.
the same thing
Jackson.
with Sam
I
Jackson.
think
it
that's
is
Yeah.
somebody that's
it's hard to
brings
Samuel.
movie.
Yes, I agree. I agree
Yeah. That. Yeah.
100% with Samuel. He is very much typecasted into a particular type of character. So I agree 100% with. But I think Denzel is a very versatile actor. But let's.
He's a very versatile
Oh,
actor, but it's also like, when you have played so many roles, there are gonna be some misses. That's just
Oh,
like
sure,
Prince.
sure, sure.
I think Prince is probably the best musician of all time, but Prince has some bad albums. I'll be the first to tell you, Prince has some bad albums, some garbage songs. I listen to him because I love Prince, but come on, some of that stuff is like, okay, dude, what were you doing? What were you thinking?
I,
But Denzel, I mean, when you have then everything's not going to be great. There's going to be some stuff where you're like, maybe should have passed on that. Before we get into the most recent movie, though, I just want to say to the panel and to our guests who are speaking, who are watching, if you haven't seen it already, in my opinion, one of Denzel's best movies was one of his first movies, 1984 Soldier Story. This was before he was, this was before he was Denzel the Star, before he was Denzel, two-time Academy Award winner. It is an amazing movie. And I saw it when it first came to video, got on video, VHS, as a child. And I
Oh
was
wow.
I watched it over and over and over again. Loved it. My dad and I used to
Soldier
sit there,
Story.
watch it with me. It's amazing. It's amazing. And there are a lot of good notable actors in that movie as well who got their first start in
I was
that
gonna say
movie
my
as
favorite
well.
was
Oh,
Devil in the Blue
cool.
Dress.
David Allen Greer's in that
Never seen
movie.
either.
Looks the same. He looks the same. Look, I second that. A Soldier Story is a phenomenal movie. It's a mystery, right? And it is, and
Who done it?
right. It's a who done it, and it's all about who killed Adolf Caesar. Like, and that's the actor's name, not the character's name. and it's a great movie. I 100% agree with you. Go seek that movie out. It's very good.
So Kevin Thaxton
Very
says Equalizer movies and The Book of Eli are my favorites after Man on Fire. All those are great movies.
Oh
Man on
wow!
Taima,
I forgot the Book of Eli.
Man on Fire was
That
a
was
good
very
movie.
good.
Man on Fire was a good movie. Okay, Taima Fatima says Training Day I thought was great. And then Jose says love
Iconic.
Man on Fire. Jose,
King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Iconic.
So Jackson Robinson agrees with you. One racist referred to Thurgood Marshall as that high yellow N-word, kind of hard to do when it's Chadwick Boseman, right? When you call him a high yellow, which it makes sense.
We get it.
And then Daria Winter said Tom Cruise acting ? Olivia says Man on Fire was bomb. I agree with all of those. All right. So we did want to discuss before you leave, Mike. We wanted to go over the new movie from Denzel Washington. We wanted to see your thoughts on that. So let's play a little clip of The Little Thing. Here we go.
He knew all the details, but he wasn't within 10 miles of the killing.
Why ain't that? Why is that? How's the trunk space? What do you want?
I want to nail the bastard.
For who?
For all of the girls he killed.
I want to nail the bastard too. Difference is, I'm doing it for me. It's little things, Jimmy.
All right. So,
So
Micah.
spoiler alert. Spoiler
Oh,
alert.
Denzel.
There may
So
be
spoiler alert
things
moving
discussed.
forward. We will be discussing parts
Okay.
of the movie, but that was just a
Okay.
preview. So, Micah, your
Are we
thoughts?
like?
Your thoughts
Are we?
on
Are we?
the Denzel
Are
Washington
we? Are we?
movie?
Are we spoiling, or just like?
Spoil it all the
just
way.
be
We're
careful?
spoiling. We're spoiling. Go ahead.
Okay. The
Spoil it all
movie.
the way.
The movie is fine. It is a slow burn crime mystery.
Understatement.
Slow burn.
It is like the tortoise in
Yeah.
the hair. Slow burn.
If this movie is trying to be like Seven, right? Everybody remembers Seven came out in '95.
Oh yeah.
It is the gold standard when it comes to mystery crime movies, in my opinion. And this movie, with a script that was written in the '90s,
Yeah, that's right. Good point.
There's some script problems with this movie.
It worked.
But but it's okay. Like, in terms of, if I went to see it in a theater, I would be kind of mad. But
Mm.
sitting
Yeah.
at home, I watched it on HBO.
I'll give you that. Yeah,
It was
sitting at home,
fine.
it wasn't bad. Yeah. All right,
Right.
let's start with let's go with Robbie Rock on the. What are your thoughts, Robbie Rock, on the movie? What's your review?
My wife and I watched it last night, and I mean, but we enjoyed it. Didn't hate the movie. It
Right.
definitely had, like, I think, slow burn. Yeah, there's definitely some moments because I was pretty tired last night. And I know towards the end, and if you're taking a late drive down the highway and it's a low hum and it's just a conversation between two people, if I'm in the back seat of that car, I'm doing the same thing that I was doing in my bedroom last night. Just, oh, okay, I'm back. Okay. And then you listen and you go, okay, I didn't miss anything. But I mean, there were some slow moments, but it helped build some of the ambiance and some of the suspense, the underlying suspense that was happening. I enjoyed Jared Leto's performance. He plays creepy really well.
Yeah, he
Very
always
consistently
creepy
with
well,
that.
'cause he's creepy.
He always plays it.
Plays
Denzel's
himself.
character and
Yeah.
performance of the character, I enjoyed.
That's
Yeah.
It's I found some of the character, you were able to connect with the characters on a very human level. So I didn't mind the movie. I thought it was okay.
All right, Lizzie. Well, let me go with Gianni. Let me go with Gianni first. All right, Gianni, what were your thoughts?
I can't get over how it ended and just the plot the breaking point, or I don't know the movie terms, but I can't get over it, and it makes me so mad because I really wanted to like the movie because I just felt like the acting was very well, like they did very well. Denzel in the movie, I found that like with this type of role, I feel like Denzel you can't overact. You know what I mean? As an actor, you can't overact. You can only play what the character is, and I think he did that very well. Overall, like if I was to rate it, I would give it a 7 or a 7.5. Being
Right.
nice. I
That's
like
good.
it.
That's actually a
It was
pretty
okay.
good rating. So Lizzie.
Yeah.
This is out of 10 or 100, Johnny? What are you saying?
Yeah, mine might be out of 100, but go
Oh.
ahead.
Oh my
Good,
gosh.
Lizzie.
Hopefully Denzel doesn't hear this.
I didn't hate it. I'm with Micah. I didn't hate it. With Rob as well. I didn't hate it. It's just this movie has 3 Academy Award winners in it. And so I had such high expectations giving that in the resume and given the trailer. Like the trailer had so much excitement or whatever. And again, I don't want to spoil too much, but all the excitement that's in that movie is in that 2-minute trailer. It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
It's
It
more
is a
about
slow burn, very.
it's more about the psychology of a homicide detective than it is about the actual crime or the killer.
100%. Yeah.
It's taken a while to get used to that. And, Denzel and Jared Leto were both fine in their acting roles. I thought Rami Malek was terrible. And again,
Terrible. Oh my
He
God.
was
Thank you.
wasted. His
He was
character didn't need to be
horrible.
there at all. He was
I mean,
the weakest. He was the weakest link
oh,
in that trio.
That was going to be my biggest disappointment is freaking
Yeah,
Rami Malek. I mean, because he is a great actor.
Which one did he play? I don't know the actor's name.
He played the detective, the lighter skinned detective.
Yeah, the young
Oh,
officer.
The young
And
guy.
he
yeah.
he has a twin brother. And so I was like, well, is it his twin? Like, did they do
It's just I don't know what happened. Horrible.
A little switch up.
because I know he can act better than what he's giving you. Like you get nothing from him. Like you maybe get something from
I
him
don't
in
know
like the
what
first
character he was playing.
his first interactions with Denzel. Anything after that, I was like, no. So, and I watch a lot of crime stuff. I am killer show queen. And so I was just expecting so much. And it was just,
Yeah,
all
me
right.
with me in movies, expectations play a big role in how much I tend to like or dislike it. Because when I walk in with certain expectations, then it kind of messes me up when the expectations aren't met. Or so when I'm looking at Rami Malek and then Denzel Washington and Jared Leto, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be an amazing. And I blame the director actually because I think it was a reasonable script, decent plot. I mean, plot was, there were issues, but there were so many things that they missed. I mean, they missed the final reveal was not very well done, where you find out about Denzel.
Yeah, I
And
think there
I don't
was a
want
lot
to
of
say what it is. I don't want to
confusion.
just go all in, but I don't. I mean, that was poorly done. If you from the very first scene was poorly done because it was unbelievable. Why would and I guess I can give the first scene, but why would a young girl get out of her car,
Yeah. I
which
think
was
we were all yelling at the screen.
when right when when at that
Like,
point
why?
all he had done was pass her a couple of times. So he didn't build the director didn't build the scene well enough for us to make it feel the intensity of certain scenes. It was just poorly done to me. But again, expectations were extremely high. Again, if I were watching this and it was so actors, I would be like, it's a good movie. It was enjoyable. I can get over some of the plot problems and I can get over some of the unbelievable things. But overall, I was just disappointed.
I was highly disappointed. Because like Rob said, I also was tired, Rob, when I watched it. So I thought, okay, this movie, they're hyping it up and what have you. The trailer looked amazing. So this is going to keep me up for the next 2 hours before I turn on ID Discovery and watch real killer shows. And it was just like, okay, let me just go back to the real thing because this was totally lacking.
All right.
So Neo, I can only offer up one piece of advice as a friend. When it comes to entertainment, check your expectations at the door, because
Not
even the
possible.
golden goose will
I gotta
not
have
always
some
lay you
level
a
of
golden egg.
expectations. 'Cause
To be entertained, and to be told the story.
No, I get really
Not
critical
necessarily
of like
well.
movies I expect to be good too. So let me get to the
Same.
comments online. We're kind of out of time. So George Fournier, he was great in Philadelphia also.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, there
Yep.
was a question. Micah, can you give us one current and one past movie that's must watch? I'll let you do that in a second. Denzel is edible in his old age. This is Olivia.
Girl, you
And Kevin
married Miss
Jackson.
Olivia. You married Miss Olivia.
She's too funny.
Kevin Thaxton repeated what
Olivia.
Robbie says. If you don't expect too much from me, you might not be let down. But
I don't.
Micah, I'd like for you to answer Olivia's question of just name one current movie and one past movie, and then tell people where to find the Black on Black Cinema podcast. Tell them where to find you, and close us out.
Denzel movie or just movie period?
Movie period. Something that must watch.
I'll give you two must watches. One is The Spook Who Sat by the Door. These are past movies. The Spook Who Sat by the Door, which is about a black man infiltrating the CIA, using that knowledge to pass on to other black people to maybe try to use it to their advantage. This is a wonderful movie.
Interesting.
And The Watermelon Man. The Watermelon Man is a movie about a white bigot, who wakes up one day as a black man, and all of that, and all of that he has to deal with now as a black person.
Isn't that like Soul?
No. This is much better than Soul Man. Oh my God. No, this is a black actor in white face who wakes up in his normal black skin.
All right. Are you?
Yeah.
Well, we gotta close it down. So, are you looking forward to Judas and the Black Messiah?
I'm very much looking forward to Judas and the Black Messiah. Also, check out Malcolm and Marie. It's on Netflix, starring John David Washington.
All right, and where can we find you?
You can find me at blackonblackcinema.com, facebook.com/blackonblackcinema, youtube.com/blackonblackcinema.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for joining us. We'll have you back soon, Micah.
Thank you, Micah.
Great job.
Right. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
So I guess we like talking movies, huh, y'all?
Clearly.
I know.
Rana.
Movies and music.
see.
Movies and music.
Yeah.
Hey.
We'll definitely be bringing Micah back because he's awesome as always.
He's
I would like, because I don't know very much about Canadian cinema, Robbie. So maybe we do a future show where we just kind of highlight some good Canadian actors or Canadian cinema. Like, what y'all watching?
Yeah, that's true.
I could definitely highlight some Canadians. Yeah, Jay Baruchel comes to mind right off the top of my mind as far as a director, producer, writer, actor. He's a brilliant kid. But yeah, absolutely for another show.
All right.
Yeah.
Time for hot topics. We've got a couple of hot topics.
Shenanigans.
All right, so the way Hot Topics works, our hosts bring you hot topics they want to share. We'll ask, is this truth, lies, or shenanigans? And our panel will talk about it for a bit until time is up. And then we'll go to our audience for questions and comments. So make sure you're talking to us in our threads as you have been. All right. So, Robbie, you've got some YouTubers paying the ultimate price for their prank. Is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
It's truth and shenanigans, as most of the time it is. So yeah, just outside of an urban air trampoline center. So this was Timothy Wilkes, a 20-year-old man, decided that he would arm himself with a butcher knife on a Friday night while taking part in a prank robbery for a YouTube video. So went to the parking lot with a friend who was filming. And then just rushed towards a group of people in the parking lot by the Urban Air Trampoline Adventure Park around 9:30 at night. If you are with a small group of friends and someone brandishing a big knife is coming at you, if you're armed, you may feel inclined to defend yourself. And that's exactly what one of the individuals did. They shot and killed this poor kid. So, I mean, really, should the shooter or any of the prank victims be charged for shooting this young man? And what advice would you have for other social media contributors that may be thinking of engaging in this kind of activity?
Start with Gianni Storm. What do you
Um, I feel like this really like is I don't see this type of thing happening because I even looked it up after you gave us this article, Rob. So I don't see this being a common thing, but I do know sometimes influencers and YouTubers, they mistake creativity with extremity or just being outrageous, and they think that's thinking like recklessness is thinking outside of the box. So I think that as far as advice, just be original and creative. You can do something, the same prank, a million different ways. So keep that in mind. But I feel like as far as speaking on this specific scenario, who should be charged, that's hard to say because technically the friend who was with him isn't to blame. The guy who ended up shot is his own man as well. So he did put himself in that position. And the man that shot him, of course, that's self-defense from what he claimed. So
think?
that's
He thought he
hard.
was
I
being
do feel
attacked
like
by
there should be
somebody with
some.
butcher knives.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I feel like the situation might have been punishment enough because it was traumatizing, but that's just me. You guys know I'm a softie sometimes.
Lizzie.
So
I've said this before on the show, and I guess I'm going to have to keep saying it again. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And I don't mean to sound callous when I say that, but I've
yeah.
seen so many of these videos on the internet about people pulling pranks on folks, whether it be not necessarily with a butcher knife, but you're dressed up as Michael Myers and you come jump out at somebody, trying to scare them, or you jump out of your car and you chase. Like I always say, somebody's going to get hurt one of these days. And sure enough, like you can prank your friends in a situation where you kind of can read the room and you can gauge what's going on. Don't come up to strangers like that. Do not roll up on strangers with some mayhem and foolishness. Certainly don't roll up on me. I mean, granted, I don't carry a gun, I don't carry weapons, but you might be in for an ass whooping. Like that's not. It's not fun.
Seriously.
It's not funny, and you're making yourself vulnerable to the other person who does not understand your humor. So to answer your question, Robbie, no, I don't think in either side. I don't think anyone should be charged. I don't think anyone should be charged because the guy who actually shot this young man had no idea what his intent was. He didn't know this guy. What are you going to do if somebody rolls up on you with a butcher knife? You're not going to stand. Most people don't stand there and say, "Oh, for real, what you doing with that?" No, you
Weapon,
move
yeah.
to
Yeah, we think it's real. Exactly.
yourself. And for the victim and his friend, I mean, truthfully, no crime was committed on their part either. So it really is a tragic accident, and you feel for everyone involved.
I'm really
But y'all
surprised.
gotta stop this. Y'all gotta stop this. Y'all
I'm
gotta
really
stop
surprised
this.
this hasn't happened sooner because I have
Oh,
seen some crazy videos. I saw one video where the guy was pranking. He took a plunger, right? And took the plunger, and there was a bald-headed dude. He took the plunger and plunged him on his head, and the guy
see,
was pissed. And the plunger got
see,
stuck to his head, and he was running. He was trying to fall. He was trying to not hit the guy, and
see,
I'm like, oh, I would have done
I'm
some
sorry.
stuff.
see,
I mean,
see.
but there's so many of these
To
videos
strangers.
that I have
Yeah.
seen of people just walking up doing random dumb stuff.
Crazy stuff.
I mean, it's different when you walk up and you just say, "Hey," something stupid like, "Hey, how you doing? You want to get naked?" You know, as a prank to some stranger. That's one thing. Because somebody will just look at you funny and be like, "Get away from me,
Like
you
a harmless
creepy."
prank.
Right. A relatively harmless prank. But when you start touching me, attacking me,
But you
doing
don't know where the boundary lies, because what if
right.
somebody that, like an older person, you might have just dropped something that was meant to be scary on purpose or shock them, and they have like a heart attack
I've
A
seen
heart
or a
somebody
attack.
brain
jump out of like a
aneurysm or
trash can
something.
with like a mask and then he gets knocked out. I mean, what are you going
They
to
get
do?
knocked out hard. Yeah.
Robbie,
Yeah,
Robbie,
wow.
the latest that happened over Christmas is, for some reason, adults like to scare their children, right? So they had all of these adults, particularly in this instance, Black adults, who they had their kid go and thought that they were going to go meet Santa or something like that. And then all of a sudden, the Grinch comes out, like a human
Oh
Grinch. And
yeah, I saw that.
The Grinch comes out
Kids were
and,
terrified.
scared the kids. Well, a lot of the kids were terrified and ran, but a couple
Yeah.
of the kids beat the hell out of the Grinch. Like they weren't playing. Beat the
as they should.
No.
as
All right.
they
They stood
should.
up.
They
Yeah.
should.
All right, Robbie, I'll give you about 20 seconds. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, that's it. When you charge at someone, you're going to get one of two responses: fight or flight. And this isn't the first time that a social media influencer gets hurt or somebody dies doing a prank or staging something. And it's not worth the 15 minutes of fame. They need to be very calculated risks. Just be smart, be careful, train with professionals if you have the opportunity, learn what they do. Don't threaten strangers. Don't be perceived as a threat to strangers, because you never
Yeah.
know how someone is going to respond if they believe that their lives are in danger. I know that there's a Brazilian prank show that they really jump up the fear. One of their more famous gags was a subway car that stops, and then the lights flicker, and then there's zombies at the window, and then they start coming in through floor grates. I'm sorry, I love zombie lore. I love it. And if zombies are crawling on the ground towards me, there's going to be a broken neck or a
Yep.
fractured skull.
I'm hurting
That's going to be
somebody.
my response.
Let them know, Rob. Let them know.
All right.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Quick comments
Don't do that to
online.
me on a subway car.
Let them know.
Andy DeFresna. Am I spelling this right? Am I spelling it?
Dufresne.
Dufresne. Thank you.
Andy Dufresne.
Fresno.
Obviously, I agree with Liz since I used the same phrase. Jeanette, especially not now. Everyone is on edge. Jacqueline Brown says exactly. Some people just play too much. Um, Olivia says things are just jumping around. Hold on. Remember that girl that tried to scare her dad and he shot and killed her? So sad. She was like 8.
Oh yeah.
Mike Winter says, catch these Canadian hands. Catch these Canadian. All right, let's get to our next hot topic. Last one, Gianni Storm.
Shenanigans.
You've got some Asian Americans looking for some allies. Is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
This is truth. So, a recent article on Vice has spoke about Asian Americans that are calling on allies in the response of a wave of hate crimes that have been taking place. So, 3 recent attacks on mainly senior citizens that are continuing to rise of anti-Asian racism during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, the outcry comes out after January 30th of this year. After 84-year-old Thai grandfather who died as a result of injuries that he was when he was shoved to the pavement while taking a walk in San Francisco. So there's a graphic video that is circulating online, but I believe it's taken down. Obviously, nobody would want to see that. So 19-year-old Antoine Watson was the one who was convicted and pled not guilty last week to charges of murder and elder abuse. Asian Americans across the country have been using this attack as proof of this mounting issue. So the continued rise of anti-Asian sentiment and hate crimes in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Obviously, we know that our former leader has linked COVID-19 to Asian Americans, to Chinese people specifically. So the conversation continues to build as a response to the recent attacks through hashtags like Justice for Vicha and Asians Are Human. People across the internet are asking for increased visibility of these stories, so some of which haven't even been reported on national publications or news coverage. So my question to the panel is, do you believe people will be on board for support of this outcry for Asian Americans? Or do you believe it will be brushed off?
I'll start. So, do I believe that they will get um
The help
I
they
think
need,
that
like the
I would hope so
coverage.
because there were, I mean, when African Americans were, doing calling for Black Lives Matter, looking for allies, there were a number of Asian Americans that stepped up for that. And, you know, these these Trumpers are a problem for all of us. The reason, one of the big reasons that they're being attacked is because Trump decided to talk about the China virus, the Chinese virus, Wuhan virus, and associating it with a particular group of people. It was he tried to argue that he was denoting it was from China, therefore it's Chinese, but that doesn't matter because you have to recognize the people that you're talking to. You have to understand your audience. And when you're talking to an audience of Americans, all they hear is Chinese, China, and they associate it with along racial lines. So as a president, you're supposed to understand this fact and then stop doing it. But he refused to do that. And so now it's built up, and these people, the same people that stormed the Capitol, are the same type of people that stormed the Capitol, are the same people who are attacking Asian Americans because they believe that this China virus was caused by them. Um, so it's a real shame, um, and I would hope we'd all step up and be allies to the fight that they're having, because we need allies. Like everyone. I mean, everyone needs allies
Yeah, of course.
in
Yeah.
any type of social fight that they're injustice that they're dealing with. So, Bobby Rock.
Shame on Antoine for pleading not guilty. I mean, if you're a 19-year-old kid who's shoving an octogenarian to the ground, I mean, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Hey guys, watch this. It's and
Yeah.
unfortunately, this anti-Chinese sentiment over the last year was really drummed up. It was one of his catch lines, and unfortunately, it spoke to a base of people who already had these ideas, and it emboldened them, it reinforced the message, and it gave them an opportunity to be, okay, well, I can be overtly racist towards people of
Mm-hmm.
Asian descent. And the problem was,
Emboldened.
China was being attacked, but anyone of Asian descent, anyone who didn't look Caucasian or didn't look black, then okay, so this is a Chinese person. It's the coronavirus is your fault.
Right. When you want to
It's
lash
your
out at
dirty eating
somebody,
habit.
when you want to lash out
Yeah.
at somebody, you're not going to fly to China and lash out at China. You're going to find a person that reminds you of someone from China and lash out at them.
Yeah.
And Johnny, this isn't something that is reserved to the U.S. There have been attacks in Canada that targeted people of Asian descent, and it's not correct. These are violent racist acts. So I'm with you, Johnny. I really hope that people will rise up because this is just another cry to end racism in all of its forms.
Yeah.
Lizzie Ender.
Good point. All of its forms.
I just want to make the point that I'm going to put this in the perspective of New Yorkers, because over the summer I taught a class with the School of the New York Times about New York City, reporting on New York City. And this was coming out of, or actually going into the height of the COVID numbers in NYC. Okay. And so I had one of the leaders of the Chinatown community in New York City come and talk to my students. And there were a number of attacks in Chinatown in New York City. A number, starting from, I would say, late February up until the latter part of the summer, and they've kind of tapered off a little bit, but they're still there. And the majority of these attacks were not committed by Trumpers, were not committed by Trumpsters. These were committed
Yes.
by Black and Latino people. So a lot of people, like Rob pointed out to or alluded to just now, a lot of people are using this as an excuse to have their racism manifest into something. So as deplorable as I think Trump is, he's not responsible for all of this stuff. A lot of this stuff was already there. A lot of this stuff is coming from people who have no affiliation, who do not believe anything about Donald Trump. They just want to act on their inner racism. And I mean, the young man that I talked to for my class, who is a leader in Chinatown, he was talking about how not only did a lot of the businesses have to shut down because restaurants and so forth were on lockdown for a little bit, but when they reopened, nobody wanted to go there. And if they did reopen, a lot of the businesses were vandalized. A lot of the Chinese workers or Asian workers, because in Chinatown, it's not just Chinese people that live there, but Asian people, if you will, Asian Americans, if you will. They were attacked. They were accosted. There was we had video of one young man who was sitting on his stoop, and just this random kid, looked like he was maybe 18 at the most, came up and threw acid on his face. This is for giving us the coronavirus. So
Oh my God.
it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot.
People are
Um,
so
do I
ignorant.
do I think that Trump helped, exacerbate the issue? Absolutely. But there in certain cities, there's already been this conflict between the Asian community, the Black community,
Mhm.
the Latin community, Latino community, and this just made it worse.
Right.
Um, so do I think that they have allies? I do think that they have allies, but I also think that it's a serious threat to their community that our leaders, whether it be at the local level or at the state level or the federal government, needs to step in and take this seriously.
Yeah.
Needs to step in and take this
I think
seriously.
Biden is with it. I mean, I think the DOJ is now with Biden. But my point on Trump, and I see some comments online related to that as well. But um, so I don't believe that Trump is responsible for racism towards Asian Americans. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm.
What I'm saying is similar to what Robbie was saying. Trump is responsible for emboldening them to be able to act out on the existing racism. It's the same thing towards African Americans. The racism is there. There's no question. And the racism between different groups. Because there's a lot of Latinos that don't like blacks, and there's a lot of Asians that don't like blacks. So it's but what happens is when you have someone like your president of the country um, saying that this is okay, then it emboldens them and it makes it more prevalent, more active, more. It happens more often. Like the thing says, it increases. It's a growing number of.
And I agree with you, but let's just not be naive that a lot of these people aren't listening to Trump. Probably never even heard Trump's message.
Oh, no.
And as Mike Winter pointed out, I mean, this isn't the first time. If you guys haven't read it, read No No Boy, the story No No Boy. Look up the history of Japanese internment camps after World War II.
Mhm.
Like this is something that has been ongoing in this country
Yeah, and
as it relates
those
to
numbers would
America.
level out. I mean, they would level
Um,
out. What I'm saying is the increase is due to Trump. That's what I'm increase. The growing wave is due to Trump and his emboldening these groups of people to say, we can do these things. We can. It was the
So
same.
do you think that if Trump would have never had said anything mentioning that it was due to
It's
China
not
is the
just
cause
him
of
saying the China
COVID-19?
virus. It's his
depends
attitude
on
Trump
towards
said
racism.
China is working with us. They have provided us with their medical data. They've provided us with research data. They're an ally and they're working with us to try to develop a COVID vaccine or global response. Is a very different message than saying it's the China virus. They're dirty. It's
Yeah,
what
it
the
is.
what
It is a
No,
different message. Yeah.
And I agree.
It reminds me of Hitler, how he vilified the Jews in the 30s before he mounted his big thing.
Yeah.
It's
But
a
I
very
also
similar message.
But it also needs to be pointed out again that there have been underlying tensions, and I'm specifically speaking about urban communities, predominantly Black, predominantly Latino communities in this country. There have been underlying tensions with members of the Asian community for decades.
Mhm.
And
It's
so,
true. Yeah.
regardless of if Trump had said anything, as soon as you say this virus originated in China, boom, it's a trigger. So that's
Okay.
the
That's true.
second part of it. That's the
That's
second part
true.
of
Yeah,
it.
because it's the same thing that happened with 9/11
Yeah, so
towards
it's
Yeah.
Muslims.
I'm
Yeah.
not trying to absolve Trump of anything here, but there's also this other problem in urban communities where it's just like, okay, well, we already didn't like them, but now the news is saying that this virus originated in China. So you
Yeah.
look Chinese, whatever that means, and so I'm going to go after you.
All right, so let's get to these comments really quick. Dario Winter, after he was negotiating trade deals in China and they refused to cave with the tax on Chinese is not new. Jose says it's happened in Canada and people lashing out pure ignorance. Um, and then Mike Winter tells a quick story. So I personally led a group to cancel this volleyball Bama who was hosting a tournament during the pandemic despite the China virus comment as he said it. Quote, as he said it, uh, his event was done. He was done. Folks came after his government contracts. Consequences for racism are real. And that's Saima Fatima says racism against Asians has been around for decades. George Fournier says, when I speak to a Trump supporter, I'm told they like him because he says what several people are thinking, but are too scared to say out loud.
He
Great
gave them
point
permission.
there.
I
Great
fully
point.
agree with the idea that he gave them permission and said it's okay to be a racist.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
okay to be a xenophobe. It's okay to
Mhm.
be homophobic. He gave them all permission. But we have to take responsibility for the fact that some of us already had those sentiments to begin with.
All right, good topic. This topic went a little longer than I actually expected, so it was a great topic. Great topic.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, let's close it out with our game show. Get it done. This would be a fun one. We should keep it quick. You know, we like to end all of our shows with a game, fun game. Today's game is Ask. We're simply going round robin style, and the app is going to give you a random question to answer. You try to answer in less than 15 seconds, or I'll start putting a timer on. Person with the most interesting answers wins the final thought for the show. All right. So, for example, the first question is going to, let's start with Lizzie Enders. You have been locked up for the night in a shopping center. There is no monitoring, and you will never be caught. What will you do? I already know the answer. What will you
Oh,
do,
I thought it was my choice. What would I do?
Lizzie Enders?
Go to what would I do? I would go to the nearest Chanel center because I
I
have a
figured.
Chanel that I need to replace. I sold it 2 years ago. I need to replace it, so I'm going to get my purse. I'm going to get my purse back.
All right. So, oh goodness, of course it's messing up on me. All right, there we go. All right. So, Rob B, your favorite superhero is?
I don't know if he's really a hero, but Deadpool.
That's your favorite? Nice. Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I
We'll,
love
love
we'll go
Deadpool.
with hero.
he's funny.
Gianni Storm. NASA chose you to help establish a colony on Mars. This is a one-way trip. What do you take with you to Mars?
To Mars? Oh, my laptop, definitely.
There's no internet out there.
Oh wait.
You didn't tell her that's part of the specification.
Okay, so suddenly internet and electricity is on Mars, and you're taking it with you.
Okay. Good.
All right, so your laptop. All right. Okay, so this is for me. How did you make your first money? My first, well, if I'm
Money.
counting allowance, I got allowance, and that was how I made my first money. But if I'm talking my first job was with People's Drugstore. which is now
Oh, cool.
CBS.
Yeah.
They don't know nothing about that, Neo. They don't know
They don't
I've
know.
heard of that before.
All right. Lizzie Enders, what do you keep in your basement? Oh, you don't have a basement. We're going to skip
I
it.
live
You don't have a basement.
for.
So what would you do with $1 million?
Honestly,
Ooh,
honestly,
Chanel?
no.
not Chanel.
No. I would. I have a lot of Chanel, and I can afford Chanel. There are a lot of people with insurance who can't afford their insulin.
Mm.
So I would definitely, donate to helping people in need of insulin.
Ah,
And I'm a diabetic. I'm type 1 diabetic, and insulin is you can't live without it. Like if I didn't have my meds, I would be dead in 36 hours.
Mm.
Not joking.
wow.
And there are a lot of people out there who don't have insurance. Insulin is very expensive.
Mhm.
So I would definitely put that money towards that 100%.
Robbie, have you
like
ever did a ding dong dit?
Who hasn't?
You ever did a ding dong dit?
Classic.
Who hasn't? And I live to tell the tale. That's a safe prank.
Ding dong dit. All right. Gianni Storm, have
That
you
was
ever
a
been
good
caught
segment.
during sex?
Caught doing what?
Caught what? Yeah, caught
during
what?
sex. I don't know. Whatever you were doing during sex, you might have been.
Someone walked in.
Have I ever been
That's what-
I don't
caught
know. Lizzie
during
might be asking
sex?
a more in-depth questions.
Have I ever been caught having sex? No. So if that was it,
All right.
no,
No, all
I
right.
haven't.
Zombie apocalypse has started. Where will you go and what will you do? This is Neo.
It's
yeah.
already here.
Terrifying.
That's true. I'd probably shelter in place, and then I know there's the state
Neo,
police
you're a
barracks
goner.
down the road, so I'd probably go grab some guns from there. All
Okay.
right. All right. This is the last
Self-defense.
question. Last round. All right. If you could be someone else for a day, who would it be, Lizzie?
Oh crap. I
That's a
could be
good
someone
question.
else. Gosh, I
You
would
can't say
be.
Gianni Storm, Robbie Rock, or myself. All good options.
I would be Aladdin, and I would give myself 25.
Aladdin.
Oh,
All right.
unique,
All right,
creative.
Robbie Rock. Rich or famous? Rich or famous?
Oh, I'll take the riches. You can buy fame.
You're
with
already
riches.
famous, Robbie Rock. You're already.
Yeah, you got the fame.
All right,
You're
Gianni
already
Storm. Have you ever
famous.
lied about your age?
Have I? Yes,
All right.
I have lied about my age.
And the last question for me: if you could fill your fridge for free with food or beverage of your choice, what would it be? Am I just picking one thing? I would probably just
Pizza.
Yep. That's it. My wife knows if I say anything else, that's a lie. So pizza. All right. Good job on the game show, guys. That was fun. All right. So we got some shout outs. Let's get the final shout outs then. All right, Lizzie, who you shouting out today?
Shouting out again, everyone from the rooter to the tutor who tuned into today's diversity panel with Seton Hall, with myself, Michael Smith, Bob Lee, DJ Schechter, Charles Grantham. Talk about diversity. And it's something that's going to be a continuing conversation until the day we die, until we decide to get ourselves together and be more open to people who don't look like us. I thank you guys for joining the conversation.
All right, Robbie Rock.
Lizzie, you absolutely killed it today with the diversity in sports piece that you did this afternoon. It was absolutely brilliant. If members of our audience did not tune in, please check it out. It's a worthwhile discussion about diversity in sport. A lot of salient points are made and should be implemented. So, yeah, shout out to my girl Liz.
All right. Gianni Storm. Good job, Lizzie. Gianni Storm.
Well, good job, Liz, and shout out to Olivia. We will be going live we'll be going live Friday evening, and we'll be doing like a recap and just Wait, what time? Sorry.
6 p.m.
What time do we usually? Okay.
6 p.m.
8 p.m. Friday Eastern Standard Time.
6 p.m. 6 p.m. The unscripted web series on Instagram.
Okay, 6 p.m.
All right. My shout out is to my wonderful wife once again. We're taking a short vacation this weekend, so I'm very much looking forward to the break. And hey, if you want an official TLS shout out, follow our hosts on social media and reach out to any of them on their social media pages and they might shout you out. That is all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. We hope that maybe you learned something, gained a new perspective, or even got some things off your chest. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe at TLS Live Show. If you missed any of today's episode, check out our clips online on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe to the audio replay of the podcast on iTunes or anywhere you listen to podcasts. I hope you had fun today. We did too. We will not have a live show on Sunday, but we will have a TLS replay, so you can still check us out. Our next live show is on Wednesday, February 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll have a fantastic guest joining us, the Mademoiselle, who has an amazing, fun YouTube channel. So check her out. It's THEE, Mademoiselle. All right, so I have to pick a winner for today, and I'm going to go with Lizzie. I'm going to let you close us out. You had a wonderful day. You had a wonderful presentation with Bob Lee and the rest of the crew. So close us out, Lizzie. Close us out for the night.
So Sunday is Valentine's Day, and despite what you heard, I love Valentine's Day. So every year, my advice to everyone, friends and foes, love somebody, even if it's just yourself.
Love somebody. I love it. I love it. All right, guys, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next Wednesday. Have a great one. Happy Valentine's Day. See you later.